20 hours of ocean raised underneath our feet. We now know that this game is on, yet it still tastes bittersweet. We've no more talking left to do, our demons lost and found. We're an Ireland boy, screams a radio, always this old girl touches down. La, 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 la.
Sam comes from a military background, and his grandfather and great-grandfather both served in World Wars. My great-great-grandfather, I think, served in the First World War. And we were talking about that. A lot of men from Northern Ireland died in the Battle of the Somme. There's a huge Ulster regiment over there, and they lost their lives. And we were talking just about that, and Sam told me there was an island in Lough Erne, which is like, if you look at a map of Northern Ireland, Lough Erne looks like somebody's grabbed the middle of Ireland and taken it out, and there's a big puddle, and that's Lough Erne. And there's an island there where basically during the Second World War, because of the situation in Northern Ireland and the Atlantic, it was a strategic point for, you know, obviously ships and military and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of GIs, American GIs stationed in Northern Ireland. And around Lough Erne was where the base was. And they would be stationed there before they were shipped to the front, to France, to Belgium, to Holland, to fight. And usually, you know, what they do the night before they're shipped out, they'd take a boat out to this island with their sweethearts that they'd met, the Irish girls they'd fallen in love with, and they'd carve messages into the trees. And it's still there today. You can take a boat out and you can see all these messages from, you know, 65 years ago, with these GIs would carve about missing home, or, you know, and these guys knew they might not be coming back. They're going to fight. This could be it. So some of those messages are pretty, as you imagine, poignant and deep, and, you know, some of them are funny, but they're still in the trees to this day. So that's the, you know, the song we wrote, Hearts on Trees, and it's putting ourselves in a mind of a GI and taking his sweetheart out there and what he must be thinking. And he's so far away from home, and then he's got to go even further away from home and leave the girl he's fallen in love with in Ireland to go and fight in another country that he's never been to before, you know, and not knowing if he's ever going to come back. For a man that doesn't do drugs to come up with this is just wonderful. If you go to Belfast, there's two cranes, two huge yellow cranes. You can't miss them. When you fly in, you'll see them. They tower above the city, and they've been there since about 1970. And they're called Samson and Goliath. And they're in the shipyard. And at one point, that shipyard used to employ 30,000 men in Belfast. Obviously, these days, everything's automated. I think me and Sam always joke that it takes two guys to drive those big cranes now, and it takes 4 people in Subway to make a sandwich. So I mean, it just shows you how far we've come as a society. So but those cranes have always been there, and they've stood there through all the crap and all the shit that went on from 69 up, and I guess up until, you know, 94, 95 when the ceasefire was signed. And they've seen it all. And Sam had the concept, well, what if they could talk to each other? What would they say? What would they think? Because they've seen it all, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. So we wrote this song, said Samson to Goliath, basically the two cranes having a conversation with each other about all the hurt and everything that they've seen. And what I like about it is the last verse is quite positive, and it's a nod to the future and to where the country's going. And I think it's just a beautiful turnaround. And it's a real haunting song, and you know, again, you know, when you get lyrics of that quality, the music writes itself. It really does, you know. It's just wonderful to work with them.
Who built a new tomorrow? Who never moved an inch? Who slashed their veins to save you? Who just refused to flinch?